Part 33. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 321. After hanging up the phone, Li Yuan read the news on the internet for a while. Just as he was about to send a message to the book club to promote it, he heard his phone vibrate. Li Yuan glanced at the message and saw it was from Xia's Haijin. Li Yuan, Jihu.com has started to go online. Do you need me to go to the company to help? There is only one class in the morning and the get out of class will be over soon. Li Yuan looked at the worry between Xia's Haijin's words, and his heart moved, and he quickly replied, well, I will pick you up as soon as get out of class is over. As soon as Li Yuan finished replying, Xia's Haijin immediately replied to the message. I can go there by myself. You don't need to come to pick me up. You can do your work first. This silly girl. She should be in the school classroom at this time, studying absent-mindedly, right, Li Yuan muttered in his heart. This treasure girl never made him have any worries or troubles. She just stayed with him quietly, without arguing, noisy, crying, or making trouble. Be obedient and I'll pick you up right away. Li Yuan replied and opened the QQ book club group again. With the exposure of his identity, a large number of book friends will apply to join the group every day. Those little fans who like to listen to music are much crazier than book lovers who like to read books. In order to support him, rewards are given crazily. Alliance leaders and silver alliances appear one after another every day, and gold alliances also appear almost every day. The data of Fighting Starry Sky began to rise rapidly, forming a crushing trend against other books. It really has the trend of being the #1 sacred book in online literature. Li Yuan was stunned for a while and then understood. Based on his performance at this time, he is equivalent to a combination of Potato and Squirrel and Yanzu. His appeal to female fans has been directly increased to the max state, and those with the strongest spending power are undoubtedly those female fans who are chasing stars. He felt that if he gave up writing novels and chose to make a debut, relying on the classic songs in his mind and his natural learning ability after rebirth, it would be possible to reach Jay's level. Li Yuan looked at the news about the leader group and found that the number of familiar ids had decreased significantly. They are all news about new people who have joined, and the content of the discussion has started to turn into songs from the book Fighting Starry Sky. Xiahua's #1 fan, sisters, when will Xiahua appear in the group? I really want to chat with Xiahua. Just thinking about it makes me go crazy with excitement. I especially like the song Without Makeup. I bring salt to Xiahua. I don't know, they said that Xiahua has not appeared in the leader group for several days. Sisters, besides the leader group, is there a higher level group? I want to join it. Brother Xiahua, I love you, I don't know, it should be gone. This is the highest level leader group. By the way, I heard today that Brother Xiahua is on the campus of Jida, and she wrote for the girlfriend of Jida. I wrote a new song, it seems to be called Anhe Bridge, it's very nice, sisters, has anyone heard of it? Xiahua's #1 fan, what? Xiahua has written a new song again, and she wrote it for that girl from Jida. She must be so happy. Confession balloon, no makeup, just met you, Anhe Bridge, I suddenly feel envious of her. I heard that she is also in the group, who knows her account number? Stephen Fenfen, she has withdrawn from the group. I don't know what happened again, let me just give her a thumbs up, what is going on between you and Miss Zionke? Lazy Yanjiang's younger brother, I guess, maybe Xiahueda and Zionke broke up? Otherwise, they wouldn't have withdrawn from the group, right? The fallen leaves are blowing in the wind and I am worried. Oh, Xiahua is so carefree. Miss Zionke is so kind and beautiful. She is a real little rich woman, she used to be very lively in the group, and she is still in this group. As for the administrators, they have all left the group now. Xiahua's #1 fan, Let's put aside Xiaohua's love interest, are they right? Xiaohua has been working very hard. She has to go to class every day, write books, and write songs. It's really hard. Why can't they be more considerate of Xiaohua? Stephen Fenfen, ahem. It's true that Xiaohua made a big mistake. It's better to be more rational. We are all adults and we must have the correct outlook on things. Xiaohua's number one fan, I don't care. Xiaohua is definitely not wrong. He is the perfect male god in my heart. Even if the whole world is wrong, he can't be wrong either. Tianshan swordsman, stop arguing, brothers, let's change the topic. Today there is a hot search on the internet, a website called Zhu.com, where you can register and win big prizes with a cut. Is there anyone who has not registered yet? Who can give me a chop? Here is the link. Menji Muj, Jiangxia, I have already registered this website. It is a small website that was just launched today, but the functions are quite new, and I am very optimistic about it. I don't know which company developed it, but it does have some ideas. I will talk about it later. Maybe it can be comparable to Qiandu Taiba. Lazy Yanjiang's younger brother, is it that good? I'll also sign up and give it a try to see if it's as good as you say. Li Yuan looked at the news from various book club groups, thought about it, and decided to promote it in the book club groups. Currently, there are 25 book club groups for Fighting Starry Sky, most of which are large groups of 1,000 people. The total number of book club members is tens of thousands. Li Yuan edited a message to all IT staff in various book club groups. We have developed a forum website called Zhu.com. Welcome all book friends to register and try it. It will definitely satisfy you. I hope all book friends can help promote it. Click and publish. With this pinned message, it was published in various QQ groups. The book friend groups with tens of thousands of people quickly became popular. Li Yuan just glanced at it lightly and felt his scalp tingling. There were countless readers who tagged him and asked questions frantically. Tianshan swordsman, Xiaohua, did you develop this Zhu.com? At born like Xiaohua, come out and answer quickly. Stephen Fenfen, I was shocked. I just completed the registration and haven't had time to experience it yet, and you told me that this is a website developed by Xiaohua. At born like Xiaohua, come out and explain quickly. Xiaohua's number one little fan, my Xiaohua male god, you are so great, sisters, quickly gather and mobilize the energy of our Xiaohua fan group to help promote Xiaohua male god, let's go. Li Yuan looked at the crazy messages in various groups asking for the truth about himself, and he did not hide it, and directly admitted it in the group. I presided over the development of this website. The main purpose is to communicate more professionally and comfortably. Everyone is welcome to register and experience it if you feel it is appropriate. Help promote it to your friends around you. Xiaohua will be grateful. As soon as the message was sent out, it was like a wave splashing on a calm lake, instantly detonating major book friend groups. Tianshan swordsman, Xiaohua has finally appeared. It's true. Oh my god, he's starting to cross fields again. He writes novels, songs, and now he's starting to build a website. Xiaohua, is there anything you can't do? Stephen Fenfen, Xiaohua has such great ambitions. Is he planning to make Zhu.com the fourth bat? Xiaohua's number one little fan, Xiaohua, you finally appeared. Look at me. I'm your die-hard fan. At born like Xiaohua. The various replies set off the book friends group, and Li Yuan didn't have time to reply one by one. Do you want to play with some other authors? Li Yuan muttered, hesitating. Because of Battle of the Stars, he also met some other great authors, but he could only say that they were acquaintances. Moreover, colleagues are enemies. His first book Battle of the Stars after his rebirth was a huge hit, and even formed a siphon effect, which would make all other works of the same period pale in comparison. Some authors with narrow minds will definitely feel uncomfortable, and it's good enough if they don't click report. In my previous life, I also spent a few years in the online writing circle. Although the results were not very good, I was considered to have entered the industry. I saw too many jealous people in the online writing circle, and there were many people who used small accounts to report. Forget it, there is no need, it's better to have less trouble than more, let's just leave it at that. Li Yuan thought about it and decided not to go through this trouble. It's not worth it to have to bear favors. If this kind of multifaceted promotional method can't make Jihu.com popular, then slowly work on improving its quality. I don't believe that I can't make a better news hit than my last life, even if I personally control the general direction and spend money. In the future, I can also have many titles, such as the Supreme God of Online Literature, Genius Musician, Founder of Zhihu, Game Leader. Now it's time to enter the fantasy moment. Li Yuan muttered in his heart, and a smile reappeared on his face, dispelling a little of the haze brought by Zhang Xiao's departure. Li Yuan casually opened other forums, such as NBA Forum, Football Forum, and other forum websites, checked the power of the Internet Water Army, and felt quite satisfied. Turn off the computer, wash up briefly, put on clothes, go downstairs, pay the bill, and drive to Daxia University. Go to pick up the treasure girl. Thanks to Lazy Sheep's brother for the 10,000 points reward, and thanks to book friend 20240314102728051 for the 600 points reward. Xiahua is grateful. Chapter 197 The reaction of classmates. Xia's Haijin angrily criticized Shen Ziyu. Daxia University. Students in Computer Class 1 are taking English major courses. Brother Yuan is so awesome now. He skipped class again today. The English teacher's false eyelashes were so angry that they were about to fall off. He will definitely fail the final exam. Ren Jun muttered, deeply admiring and envious of Li Yuan's behavior of skipping classes every day. He patted Lucia's shoulder and was a little curious about Li Yuan's whereabouts. Sixth brother, at 5 o'clock this afternoon, it is our class's first basketball game. Is Brother Yuan free in the afternoon? If he can't participate, we have to prepare in advance. The guys in the next class are not weak. Who knows when he will come back? Lucia shook his head. Li Yuan's whereabouts would not be told to him. He was always elusive. Occasionally, he would ask them to help roll call, but sometimes he would just disappear. From yesterday till now, Brother Yuan has not returned to the dormitory. I don't know where he went. He is a busy man now. It is harder to see him than to see the principal. He has not shown up yet about what he told us that day. Lucia thought of what Li Yuan said some time ago, asking them to work part-time in his company, and he felt a little itchy. In the past month or so, he has spent all his living expenses to pursue a girl. Every day, he spent money on milk tea, snacks, and supper at a speed beyond his imagination. It won't be long before the private money he saved before will run out. Now he is eager to do a part-time job to earn more money to support his family. Ren Jun raised his eyebrows and joked with a smile. Needless to say, Brother Yuan must be accompanying his girlfriend. It's scary to think about it. How can he accompany 4 girlfriends? Can his body bear it? Lucia replied, I don't know how Brother Yuan and his girlfriends are doing. It's been several days. After saying that, he secretly glanced at the girl with the high ponytail in front of him. Every time she appeared, she was the most beautiful scenery in the class. Lucia whispered, I heard that Brother Yuan hasn't contacted Xia for several days. Ren Jun suddenly widened his eyes, showing an expression of disbelief, and exclaimed, no way, Brother Yuan really broke up with Xia. This is too beastly. What nonsense are you talking about? How could Brother Yuan give up Xia's gentle and beautiful girlfriend? They have a good relationship. I saw Brother Yuan and Xia on the playground 2 days ago, at the Yuanyang slope of the school. You know. Wu Hao winked and agreed. He was aimlessly browsing the group messages. He, like some male and female classmates in the class, successfully sneaked into Li Yuan's book club. However, he was in an ordinary V group with more people and more lively chats. There were often people driving at high speed in the group, posting all kinds of erotic pictures, and asking for seeds online all the time. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 322. He really likes the atmosphere there. In the past few days, he has already requested several seeds, all of which are classic love movies from the island country. He is almost tired of watching them. Suddenly, a group announcement appeared at the top of the group message. I have developed a forum website called zhihu.com. Welcome all book friends to register and experience it. It will definitely satisfy you. I hope all book friends can help promote it. When Wu Hao saw this news, his head was stunned for a moment, and then he jumped up in shock and waved to Lu Jia and Su Ziqiang beside him. Brothers, I just found out a hot news in the book friend group. Do you want to know? How hot is it? Zhou and the ever-changing queen are back together? Or is brother Edison Chen releasing a new movie? Ren Jun joked. Wu Hao widened his eyes. Get lost, brothers, I just found out that zhihu.com was actually developed by brother Yuan. Lu Jia asked in confusion, zhihu.com? I just seemed to hear someone in our class mentioning it. Something like Ganyi Dao and invited me to register. I thought it was a scam, so I ignored her. Hazi, is this website you mentioned really developed by brother Yuan? Wu Hao replied in shock, yes, brother Yuan admitted that he developed this website. Su Ziu asked curiously, Hazi, where did you get the news? Is it really developed by brother Yuan? Why don't I believe it? Look, this is brother Yuan's book friend group. The evidence is as strong as a mountain. Wu Hao showed them the QQ group message on his mobile phone, and his eyes were still shocked. I secretly joined brother Yuan's book friend group, and brother Yuan said it in person in the book friend group. Lu Jia took the phone, took a look, and couldn't help but exclaimed, attracting the whole class. All of them couldn't help but look at it sideways. It's true. So, the Ganyi Dao game may also be true? Complete the task and you can get 200 yuan, and you can also participate in the lottery, the latest Nokia mobile phone and Sony digital camera, you may win it. This time, it was Wu Hao's turn to be stunned. Sixth brother, what is the situation of Ganyi Dao you mentioned? Why didn't I understand? It's a 200 yuan grand prize and a lottery. This is a new member attraction activity of zhihu.com. You can see it by looking at their official website announcement. Damn, I feel like I missed 100 million. It should be in time now. Lu Jia muttered, and quickly opened the website link from the mobile browser, found zhihu.com, and registered. Hurry up, Hazi, click on the link I sent you, log in and register. It's true, this newly launched zhihu.com is actually a website created by brother Yuan. When did he create it? How could we not know? Su Ziqiang muttered in shock, his whole body was numb. They are computer majors. In the future, in addition to taking the civil service exam, they will most likely enter some large internet companies. They have just entered college and started to study computer majors. Their roommates have already started an internet company and have officially launched it. Looking at the trend of the internet explosion today, this zhihu website is also not simple. Soon, the entire computer class knew that Li Yuan had created zhihu, which aroused everyone's shock and curiosity. If Li Yuan wrote a novel and composed a song, it's just that people admire his personal talent and gift. The news that he created a new website at the age of 18, just in his freshman year, shocked everyone. It's break time now. Almost all the 65 students in the computer class, except Li Yuan, turned on their phones. Search zhihu.com to see what this website is all about. Damn, Lao Lu, give me back my 200 yuan. Brother, yuan is really generous. As long as you can complete the task of attracting new users, you can get a certain amount of cash rewards and a chance to win a lottery 10,000 yuan prize, etc. Don't stop me, I'm going to complete the task. If I miss this opportunity, I'll miss it. I found that the function of this confession wall is very unique and very suitable for the needs of college students. 2 days ago, I met a very beautiful girl in the school library. I wanted to know her information, but I couldn't find it. I felt regretful for a long time. If there was this confession wall, I might not miss my sweet love. This wet topic is also very interesting. You can share various experiences in it and insert pictures. It has some functions similar to TimeTravel. Also there is a sports section, and it is said that he wants to create the most professional sports forum. Li Yuan has great ambitions. Other film and television sections, entertainment sections, love sections, digital sections, etc., also have their own characteristics. In particular, his website seems to have a reputation and contribution value system. If you reach a certain contribution value, you can also get certain honorary titles and various rewards. It is a bit like an upgrade flow system. It is really interesting. According to my analysis, this website developed by Li Yuan really has the potential to become a big hit. The functions are quite unique, and now it has been promoted. Maybe Li Yuan's Jihu.com will become a famous website. Haha, it's not me who is cold-hearted. There are too many websites now, and the internet has begun to decline. Li Yuan just takes it for granted. He has too much money to burn. It won't be long before he is exhausted. Maybe he will go bankrupt. Haha. The 20-minute break in class instantly turned into a private session discussing Jihu.com and Li Yuan. If it were an ordinary website, even if it had the same functions, they wouldn't be so curious. But when they found out that this brand new website was developed by a college classmate who was about the same age as them, their feelings suddenly changed. Big Bear Girl Wang Zhirong looked at the Zhihu page she had searched on her mobile phone, feeling mixed in her heart. She was obviously ready to give up and pursue Li Yuan, but various news about Li Yuan kept coming to her ears. Li Yuan, why are you so good? So good that I would feel ashamed if I chased you, Wang Zhirong murmured to himself, his eyes looking very confused. Once upon a time, she was also a proud girl like a peacock, very confident in her figure, appearance, and knowledge. But who knows, when she first entered college, the pride she was once so proud of became completely worthless after meeting Li Yuan. If we say that when school first started, she was just a little dissatisfied with Li Yuan's attitude towards her during the first introduction of freshmen. But as time went by, she got to know more and more about Li Yuan. When she looked back, she suddenly discovered that the handsome figure of Gundam had walked into her heart unknowingly and lived there. Come down. Li Yuan, you have become my obsession. I have decided that no matter what, I will get you once. Wang Zhirong murmured to himself, his eyes becoming firm again. On the other side, Chen Ziyu, Ge Chen Chen, Li Lanrong and other girls were all stunned when they heard that Jihu.com was developed by Li Yuan, and all looked at Xiao's Haijin. They all knew that Xiao's Haijin worked part-time in Li Yuan's company and had to study various materials every night. She often studied alone until very late and was very serious. Ge Chen Chen asked curiously, Haijin, did you know about this Jihu.com before? Yeah, Xiao's Haijin nodded absently. She had not been to the company for several days. When she suddenly heard that Jihu.com developed by the company had been launched today, she suddenly felt a deep sense of loss. Because Li Yuan did not tell her that Jihu.com would be officially launched today. Seeing Xiao's Haijin's personal admission, Ge Chen Chen opened his mouth in shock and asked quickly. The process of website development is not easy and takes a certain amount of time. Haijin, when did Li Yuan start developing Zhihu.com? Yes, Haijin, I suddenly heard the news, which shocked me. I thought it was a lie, but I didn't expect it to be true. How did Li Yuan do it? Li Lanrong also asked quickly. Xiao's Haijin thought for a while and explained in a low voice, it has been about more than a month. When the university just started, Li Yuan had already arranged for company personnel to do research and development. Gao Xian heard the word company, a strange color flashed in his eyes, and curiosity filled his whole body. Zhaijin, what do you mean, did Li Yuan set up his own company and become the boss? There was nothing to hide in this situation, so Xia Zhaijin nodded gently. Ji Chen covered her mouth and exclaimed, it's actually true. Li Yuan started a business in college, established a technology company, and became his own boss. This is really awesome. Hee, do you think that when we graduate in the future, will we directly enter Li Yuan's technology company and work for him? Ji Chen was just joking, while Shen Ziyu poured cold water on her mercilessly and sneered. It's just a small fight, and we might go bankrupt one day. Besides, when we graduate, we will definitely enter big companies like BAT and NetEase. A rubbish company like Li Yuan, haha, even a dog wouldn't go there. Ji Chen and Li Lanrong snickered secretly. They all understood Shen Ziyu's dissatisfaction with Li Yuan. Especially after it was revealed that Li Yuan was in trouble, her dissatisfaction reached the extreme. She always tried her best to find every opportunity to say bad things about Li Yuan in front of Xia Zhaijin. Xia Zhaijin heard Shen Ziyu mocking Li Yuan and cursing the company for bankruptcy. As kind as she was, she also felt a bored hostility towards Shen Ziyu. She is also an employee of the company, and was appointed by Li Yuan to review the company's finances and personnel. She also receives a salary. She also has deep feelings for this new company, so naturally she does not want to hear such curse words. Rarely, Xia Zhaijin stared at Shen Ziyu with an angry tone and retorted seriously. In our company, we already have 3 employees, all of whom graduated from our school majoring in computer science. As soon as these words came out, the girls Ji Chen, Li Lanrong, and Gao Xian all widened their eyes and looked at Xia Zhaijin, who looked angry for the first time since they met. In their hearts, an idea suddenly emerged. Xia Zhaijin cared too much about Li Yuan, even more than herself. Shen Ziyu never expected that Xia Zhaijin, who had always been well-behaved and gentle, would suddenly get angry at her, causing her expression to become very wonderful and constantly changing. Looking at Xia Zhaijin's serious and unsmiling expression, Shen Ziyu could only mutter in her heart and turned her head away. Li Yuan drove a BMW X6 to the school gate, answering a call from Lin Yue. Lin Yue was excitedly reporting the latest progress. Boss, Zhihu.com has been online for 1.5 hours, and the number of new registered users has exceeded 300,000, and it is still increasing rapidly. The number of people who have completed the cut one knife task has reached 500. Should we cash out the rewards in time? Hold a lottery. Li Yuan nodded and replied, well, according to the procedure, the bonus will be cashed immediately. No matter what prize is drawn, it must be fair and just. At the same time, let the internet water army spread the bonus cashing situation. It is estimated that many people are still waiting and watching. Lin Yue replied, I understand, boss, when will you arrive at the company? We are waiting for you to take charge and stabilize the morale of the troops. What's the matter? The morale of the troops is unstable, Li Yuan smiled. No, this is a big deal for the company. Looking at the crazy rise in data, we are a little bit unprepared. It feels like a dream. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 323. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. After hanging up Lin Yue's phone, Li Yuan called Xia Zhaijin directly. The voice on the other end of the phone was a little noisy, and it seemed that the get out of class had just ended. Li Yuan took a deep breath and asked in a gentle tone, Zhaijin, is the get out of class over? Yeah, just finished. Xia's Haijin's voice is always so gentle and pleasant, as if it can heal the wounds in the heart and bring warmth to people. After not seeing each other for 2 days, Li Yuan really missed this well-behaved girl a little bit, and asked gently. Which teaching building are you in? I'll pick you up. Xia's Haijin whispered, I'm in the ideological and political building. I'll go there directly. No need to bother to pick me up. Li Yuan only replied, wait obediently, don't run around. In front of the ideological and political building. Under the scorching sun. Xia's Haijin was holding an English textbook and taking notes, standing quietly in an open place, so that Li Yuan could see her at the first time. Crystal sweat beads had overflowed on her white forehead. Haijin, aren't you going back to the dormitory yet? Gao Xian asked curiously, carrying his backpack and seeing that Xia's Haijin had not returned yet. Xia's Haijin answered quietly, with a smile on her face. Xingxin, you go back first, I'm waiting for someone here. Oh, waiting for someone? Waiting for Li Yuan, no wonder you smiled so brightly today, then I won't disturb you and your boyfriend's date, bye. Gao Xian teased. There were also big disagreements in their dormitory about Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin's relationship, some agreed, some opposed, she was on the side that agreed. Xia's Haijin blushed and hummed, bye. Then, she looked around and waited for Li Yuan's arrival with an expectant look. After a while, an SUV stopped by the roadside, and Li Yuan instantly saw Xia's Haijin standing under the scorching sun by the direction of the passing boy's eyes. Girls with this kind of appearance, no matter where they go, are like a ray of light, especially dazzling. Especially after Xia's Haijin was with him, she was no longer the girl who used to be so inferior that she couldn't even lift her head, releasing the dazzling youthful charm. Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin, who was exposed to the scorching sun, and hurriedly trotted over, patted her shoulder from behind, and then opened his arms. Little fool, isn't it hot standing here? Xia's Haijin was startled at first, but when she heard Li Yuan's voice, she immediately showed a look of joy. Turning around, she saw the figure she missed day and night, with his arms open, smiling at her, as if waiting for her to hug him. Xia's Haijin glanced around, her face turned red in an instant, and she whispered softly, Li Yuan. Li Yuan smiled and joked, why don't you come over? Ah, Xia's Haijin exclaimed, her face became even more shy. Before, the two of them had only held hands publicly at most, and now that get out of class had just ended, there were still many people around. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan's eyes, still lowered her head shyly, and walked towards Li Yuan. Feeling the gentle warmth coming from the front and the unique fragrance of a girl, Li Yuan touched Xia's Haijin's head, put his hands around her back, and hugged the girl tightly in his arms. Li Yuan looked at her sweaty forehead, wiped her with his sleeves, and then kissed her affectionately. Xia's Haijin trembled like a frightened deer, and buried her head tightly in Li Yuan's arms. Little fool, do you miss me? Yeah. Hee, I miss you too. Li Yuan smelled the scent of Xia's Haijin's hair, loosened his arms, and looked at her with a smile. Let's go to the company together. There are many new faces in the company these days. Let them see you, the boss lady. Yeah, Xia's Haijin lowered her head shyly. There were already many G University students passing by, looking over. On the way to the company, Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin chatted and couldn't help but talk about Zhu.com. Haijin, are you saying that all the classmates in our class know that Zhu.com was developed by our company? Li Yuan asked curiously. Yes. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan. There was something she kept in her heart and didn't say. Li Yuan was very interested in the reactions of his classmates. What are the reactions of the classmates in the class? Are there some who admire me, and some who say sarcastic things? Even secretly cursing me to go bankrupt and become a poor boy? Ah, how do you know? Xia's Haijin blinked, and the reactions of the classmates in the class were exactly the same as what Li Yuan said. Haha, do I need to say this? This is human nature. Li Yuan smiled. His appearance has already taken away all the limelight from the other boys in the class. It would be abnormal if he didn't arouse jealousy if he had luxury cars, luxury houses, and several girlfriends who were as beautiful as school beauties. However, he did not expect that the person who stabbed him in the back would be that person, a person he had never expected. Li Yuan habitually placed his right hand on Xia's Haijin's thigh. Feeling the jeans she was used to wearing, he felt a little regretful. This treasure girl was still too conservative. She had long legs that could fascinate people, but she always liked to wear jeans and sweatpants to hide this beauty. In comparison, Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi were more conscious and always consciously provided him with convenience. Bai Wuxi likes to wear long skirts, and Zhong Tingyu likes to wear stockings. They are both his favorite feelings. As Li Yuan's big hand kept moving, Xia's Haijin's face was suddenly filled with blush, but she didn't say anything to stop her and allowed Li Yuan's claws to do whatever they wanted. Li Yuan smiled and said, "By the way, Haijin, I have applied for the college student entrepreneurship base. After a few days when the office equipment and personnel are in place, I will build a company branch in the school. If nothing happens, you can go and have a look." A look of shock flashed across Xia's Haijin's beautiful eyes. She didn't know that Li Yuan had already applied for an entrepreneurial base at school. The eyes he looked at Li Yuan were full of admiration and love, and he praised sincerely. "Li Yuan, you are really amazing." Li Yuan was driving the car and felt a sense of relief when he heard Xia's Haijin's compliment. "It's just so, what's really great about me, haha, you know." Xia's Haijin was stunned for a moment, then came back to her senses, understood what Li Yuan meant, and spat with blushing cheeks. "Big bad guy? Hateful." Arriving at the company, Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin and immediately went to the Operation and Maintenance Center to check the real-time data of Zhihu.com. Lin Yue introduced, "Mr. Li, as of now, the number of registered users in the country has reached more than 450,000, and the number of active users staying on the website has reached 90,000. The effect is very good, and the activity rate on the first day, compared with other websites, many times higher." Li Yuan looked at the background data and felt a little excited. All data showed that Zhihu.com was about to become popular. "Don't get carried away and keep your spirits up," Li Yuan muttered in his heart, gradually regaining his composure, and his expression became calm. "The data is pretty good. Let's keep up the good work and keep working hard to make our Zhihu.com quickly popular in major universities." Note, thanks to Menji Muj for the 500-point reward, and 20210910210021615 book friend for the 1500-point reward. Recommend a book. If you like it you can read it. Chapter 198, Detonating the Internet, the attention of school leaders, please vote for me. Li Yuan watched the operation and maintenance staff open the backend web page and ask seriously and expressionlessly for some website experience data. "How is the feedback from registered users? Have you paid attention to collecting it?" "Mr. Li, the overall feedback is very good. The main existing problems have been collected and optimized based on recent user feedback. How smooth is the page browsing? Are there any lags, frame freezes, etc.?" Li Yuan used some of his experiences surfing the internet in his previous life to test the current user experience of Zhihu.com. Overall, user feedback is pretty good. For this Zhihu.com, Li Yuan still put in a lot of effort, provided design guidance, and also hired professionals with high salaries. The website he created is better than many websites that 1 or 2 people can build in a week. The quality is much better. In the conference room, Li Yuan, Xia's Haijin, Lin Yue, Xie Zheng, Hu Zhenqiang, Tan Zonghua and other employees of the company gathered together. Li Yuan glanced at it and found that the company now had 35 official Zhongguang employees, among whom a cleaning lady and a company security guard were specially recruited. With such a number of employees, it is no longer considered a small company. The monthly salary and benefits expenditure alone is about 300,000. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 324. If we add the 5 million yuan of publicity and promotion funds for Zhihu.com and the expenses for purchasing servers and office products, Li Yuan has invested tens of millions in this company, but now he has not even made a dime of profit, which is a complete loss-making business. As for the game Honor of Kings, it has only built a preliminary framework, and there is still a long way to go before it goes online, and it is even more distant to generate profits. Li Yuan is now sweating coldly at the idea of starting a business. If there is no profit in the stock market, there is also more than 40 million yuan of funds brought by the transfer of the copyright of the game Battle Star. If he relies solely on royalties, his technology company may really go bankrupt due to a broken capital chain. That would become a joke among the reborn. Other reborns start businesses, move their mouths, and find a few people at random, and they can become big and strong and achieve glory. And he spent a lot of money, which is also considered to be hard work, and he also poached many professional talents at high salaries. If he went bankrupt directly, it would be a big joke. Starting a business is really not that easy. There are so many things to spend money on and pay attention to, both inside and outside. Li Yuan looked at the backbones of the company in the conference room, tapped the table with his fingers, and spoke seriously. Now we have a good start. We must guard against arrogance and impatience, continue to implement the previous decision-making and deployment, organize online water army to continue to increase the promotion of water posts, the title should be exaggerated, and the content should be eye-catching. For some negative comments on the internet, it is necessary to delete them in time. In a word, we must control the comments. According to what I just said, everyone should take their positions and do their own work. I don't want to hear anyone who is perfunctory at work, slacking off, and you'd better not experience my temper and personality. As soon as Li Yuan's last sentence came out, some employees in the conference room suddenly shuddered in their hearts and lowered their heads guiltily, as if they felt that Li Yuan was talking about them. Xia's Haijin sat next to Li Yuan obediently, looking at her boyfriend's serious expression. She was also a little surprised and shocked in her heart. In her impression, Li Yuan is a very peaceful and gentle person, who likes to laugh very much and is particularly considerate. It is rare to see him look so serious. Li Yuan, he really has many faces. I still don't know enough about him. He must be under a lot of pressure. Alas, there is nothing I can do to help him. Xia's Haijin muttered to herself in her heart. Suddenly, she felt sorry for Li Yuan. She secretly looked at Li Yuan's eyes and was a little obsessed for a while. Li Yuan didn't know what kind of little thoughts the girl next to him was thinking. Looking at the employees sitting upright with serious expressions, he nodded with satisfaction in his heart. Zhihu went online. Judging from the current data, it has become a hit and seems to be about to be a great success. But the more such moments, the more nervous you have to be. You must not be proud and complacent, otherwise one negligence may ruin all your previous efforts and fail. It is still necessary to tighten the rope as necessary. Li Yuan knocked on the table seriously. That's it, everyone, take your positions. Dismissed. In the president's office. Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin, who looked a little nervous and stretched straight, and waved his hand with a serious expression. Haijin, come here. Oh, Xia's Haijin came over nervously, her head buried very low, her face flushed, as if she thought of something embarrassing that was hard to talk about. Not long ago, it was also in this office that she experienced a shocking scene, which made her very shy and scared every time she thought about it. Hearing Li Yuan waving at her, Xia's Haijin was frightened and trembled, and came to Li Yuan timidly. Before she opened her mouth, Li Yuan grabbed her hand and pulled her into his arms, lying on her side in Li Yuan's arms. Xia's Haijin's body trembled suddenly, and she glanced at Li Yuan's chin, and she was so scared that she quickly closed her eyes shyly, looking like she was at the mercy of others. Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin's shy look, his mouth corners slightly raised, his eyebrows raised, and he smiled unconsciously. This silly treasure girl always inspires his strong desire to protect her. Li Yuan decided to continue teasing her. Seeing that she closed her eyes tightly, he lowered his head and kissed her directly. Xia's Haijin's heart was pounding, and she closed her eyes tightly, not daring to speak. She thought that Li Yuan would take her in the office like last time. But after waiting for a long time, she didn't feel any movement from Li Yuan, so she couldn't help but open her eyes and look at Li Yuan. She saw Li Yuan looking at her with a smile. Li Yuan teased, "Why, Haijin, you seem to be looking forward to it." Hearing Li Yuan's teasing, Xia's Haijin's face instantly turned red, and she shyly buried her head in Li Yuan's arms. Li Yuan laughed and felt much better. He held her in his arms, sat on his thighs, put his right hand on her slender waist, and asked with concern, "Haijin, have you contacted Grandma and Anning these days? Are they used to life in the mountain city?" Hearing Li Yuan's concern for Grandma and brother, Xia's Haijin felt much better, and felt that the air around her became warmer. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan, and spoke sweetly about her family's situation. "Grandma and Anning are living well in the mountain city. My third uncle goes there every day. Anning has also made new friends at school. I heard from Grandma that her personality is not so autistic anymore." Li Yuan smiled and nodded, "Oh, that's good. I was afraid that Grandma and Anning would not be able to get used to it because they were unfamiliar with the place. He, does Anning miss me as her brother-in-law?" Hearing Li Yuan call himself brother-in-law, Xia's Haijin's pretty face suddenly became shy, and she nodded gently at Li Yuan and answered with a smile. "Well, when I called him yesterday, he was still clamoring to see you." Li Yuan asked, "Then what did you say to Anning?" Xia's Haijin answered in a low voice, "I said you are very busy, and when you are free, you can chat with Anning. You won't blame me, right?" "Silly girl, why should I blame you?" Li Yuan was shocked and touched Xia's Haijin's head. This was the first time he asked Xia's Haijin about the situation at home after returning to the magic city from the mountain city. This silly girl should be worried. "I'm really busy these days. Let's video chat with Anning tonight. I haven't seen her for more than a week. I miss Anning too." Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan happily and said gently, "Well, thank you, Li Yuan. I called out the wrong name." "Do it again." Li Yuan smiled and moved his big hand up a few inches to grab Xia's Haijin's nipples. "Ah!" Xia's Haijin exclaimed, looked at Li Yuan shyly, lowered his head, and said it again. "Thank you, husband." Li Yuan nodded with satisfaction, "Well, good boy, that's right. Don't call me by my name in private, call me husband, understand? Otherwise, he. Li Yuan smiled and buried his head in Xia's Haijin's arms, biting her hard. Xia's Haijin, who was forced to sign an unequal treaty, trembled suddenly in the face of Li Yuan's coercion and seduction, and could only shyly agree in person. As time passed, thousands of professional online water armies, plus the powerful effect brought by Gonyudeo, Jihu.com instantly became popular on the entire network. Especially after it was revealed that this was a product developed by Li Yuan, it instantly became a hot search, attracting countless people's attention. Especially in major universities in Shanghai, the names of Li Yuan and Zhu suddenly spread across the internet, almost reaching a situation where everyone knew about it. Jinan University, female dormitory. Xieping, Zhang Ruoxiu and other girls still don't know that Zhang Ziyu has left Shanghai. They thought that she and Li Yuan were going out to live a carefree life together. Until someone sent Zhang Ruoxiu the link of Ganyudeo on Zhihu.com. Sisters, I just heard a hot news. Do you want to know? Zhang Ruoxiu opened her mouth into an O shape, and she could even stuff a fresh cucumber into it. Xie Ping asked in confusion, what hot news? It can't be another celebrity's scandal, right? Zhang Ruoxiu smiled and said meaningfully to Xie Ping. He, of course not, it's about your male god. My male god? Xie Ping was slightly stunned, and her expression became more confused. Ruoxiu, what are you talking about? Where do I have a male god? Really not. Don't lie to me, there are only two of us in the dormitory, Xiu and Qing Qing are not here. Zhang Ruoxiu winked at Xie Ping and smiled secretly. I really don't know who you're talking about, Xie Ping pouted, but a tall, handsome, familiar figure suddenly appeared in her mind, and she quickly hid it and buried it deep in her heart. Seeing that Xie Ping still didn't admit it, Zhang Ruoxiu blinked and teased, Ping Ping, do you want me to tell you his name? You can say whatever you want, anyway, I don't have it. Xie Ping panicked, but still pretended to be calm and answered. Forget it, I won't tease you anymore. It's normal to like someone you shouldn't like. Zhang Ruoxiu pursed her lips and smiled lightly, looking at Xie Ping meaningfully. Don't say you, even I, sometimes, like him a little bit. It's normal for such a talented, tall, handsome, and rich boy to attract girls to like him, right? Xie Ping's body suddenly trembled, and she looked at Zhang Ruoxiu deeply, revealing a suspicious look. Why did she feel that Zhang Ruoxiu was talking about the person she was thinking of? Hey, Ping Ping, you should have heard about Xiu today, right? Yes, what's the matter? Xie Ping nodded. When she was eating in the cafeteria at noon today, she heard many people talking about Xiu and Kaniadeo, but she didn't care. Zhang Ruoxiu smiled evilly, this Xiu website is related to your male god. He developed it? Are you surprised or surprised? If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 325. Xie Ping was shocked, her eyes widened suddenly, and she said subconsciously, this is Li, he developed and produced it, how is it possible? Hearing the word Li from Xie Ping's mouth, Zhang Ruoxiu suddenly understood, and she really guessed it right. She teased Xie Ping, Ping Ping, you dead girl, you still said that there is no male god, aren't you exposed? Xie Ping's pretty face blushed, but she didn't refute it. It's normal for a boy to admire Ai and a girl to admire Qiang. Li Yuan is so awesome. He developed the website Xiu. It is now very popular and has been on the hot search. The whole internet is full of Xiu and Ganyudeo, even Shanghai Financial News has specially reported on this website. You can imagine how popular Xiu is. Ping Ping, do you think Li Yuan will become a business tycoon one day in the future? Xie Ping shook her head in confusion. How could she know? As a student of the Chinese department, she admired Li Yuan's literary and musical talents the most, which made her fascinated and admired. I don't know either, but Li Yuan is indeed very insightful. What he said last time about the relationship between online literature and traditional literature was recognized by a master in our school of literature. It is very likely to be the direction of future domestic literary development. Zhang Ruoxiu said to herself with deep emotion. Apart from Li Yuan's philandering, Li Yuan is indeed very good. Among so many college students in the country, there are probably very few who can be better than him. Sometimes, I even wonder if he is like what is said in online novels, like a cheat, otherwise how could he be so good? The first novel he wrote became popular all over the internet, earning millions a month, and became the well-deserved #1 online god book. I even heard the news circulating on the internet that the copyright of Li Yuan's book was sold to a game company, and the copyright fee was tens of millions. Every song he wrote is a classic. The song Anhi Bridge yesterday afternoon made me cry. Now he has developed Zhu.com, which is also a trend of being very popular. In the future, it may become a popular forum like Kyandu Taiba. Xieping also felt the same way. The key is that Li Yuan has just entered college. Not to mention Shanghai, even if you look at the whole country, there are not many people of the same age who are more awesome than him. By the way, Ruoxiu, have you contacted Xiao today? I called her and sent her a message, but she didn't reply. Zhang Ruoxiu shook her head, also showing a confused look. Xiao didn't reply to my message either. Could it be that she is still with Li Yuan? That doesn't seem right. Zhihu.com has just been launched. Li Yuan should be in the company, right? Ruoxiu, I always feel a little strange. Could it be that something happened that we don't know about? Xieping was talking when her phone suddenly vibrated. She picked up the phone and saw that she had received a text message. Ping ping, I have arrived in the capital. I'm sorry that I chose to leave without saying goodbye. I hope we can meet again if there is a chance in the future. When Xieping saw the text message sent by Zhang Xiu, it was like a bolt from the blue. Her body kept shaking and her phone almost fell to the ground. Suddenly, a drop of crystal tears overflowed from the corners of Xieping's eyes. Her eyes were dull and she murmured to herself. Ruoxiu, Xiu, she's gone. What did you say? Zhang Ruoxiu frowned and was about to ask the reason when her phone suddenly vibrated. She quickly looked at her phone and received a text message from Zhang Xiu. After seeing the content of the message, Zhang Ruoxiu's eyes widened and her mind went blank. Her good friend who had lived with them in the same room for more than a year left without saying goodbye and chose to leave the Magic City. Why did she leave the Magic City suddenly? There was only one possibility. Thinking of this, Zhang Ruoxiu couldn't help it and yelled in anger, swearing. Damn it, what happened to Li Yuan, this bastard? Why did Xiao choose to leave? Damn bastard, when they were together yesterday, didn't they kiss and laugh? How come Xiao has already arrived in the capital after one night? She left us, whoa. I will never see Xiao again. You damn scumbag, from now on, I will be your black fan, and I will hate you whenever I see you. Woohoo, damn scumbag, give me back my little fish. As hundreds of people who completed the cut one knife received cash rewards, some won prizes such as digital cameras. After the online water army hired by Li Yuan exaggerated these news on the internet, the reputation of Zhihu website exploded again. Almost every moment, the number of registered users was increasing rapidly, and it really reached the level of a big fire. Daxia University Administration Building. Sexy goddess instructor Chi Siu is in the college student entrepreneurship office, holding a guitar, plucking the strings with her slender jade fingers, humming a song with her sexy red lips. I have never seen such a beautiful sunset again. When it gets dark, the shadow will disappear at the intersection. The one who waved, gently, still accompanies me in sleepwalking. It is the evening breeze, the stars, and the song I hummed. These few song fragments were used by Li Yuan as a reward for her hard work that day. Although there were only a few sentences, they left a fresh impression on her. As a university music teacher, she instantly fell into it and even tarnished her reputation by having a scandal with Li Yuan. Chi Siu thought about the thrilling and exciting office story that afternoon. Biting her sexy lips, Chi Siu closed her eyes. In her mind, she couldn't help but think of being raped by that tall and handsome boy. A strange and charming sound came from Chi Siu's mouth, and her closed eyes opened in confusion. Thinking that Li Yuan hadn't contacted her for 2 or 3 days, she couldn't help but feel annoyed, and said to herself delicately. Little bastard, you took advantage of the teacher and didn't even send a text message? Or do you want to wait for the teacher to find you? You still owe me a song, but you only gave me a few fragments. What's the meaning, cunning little guy, you really know how to make me happy. Forget it, I surrender to you, I will take the initiative again to satisfy your bad taste. Chi Siyu took out her mobile phone and found Li Yuan's phone number. Looking at the number that had been imprinted in her mind, she hesitated for a long time, but still couldn't hold back her eager heart. Chi Siyu, you have to remember that you are not in love with that hateful little guy, you just want to covet his talent. Yes, that's it, I just want him to write a complete song for me. Chi Siyu opened the dialogue box and thought about how to greet that hateful little guy so that he could obediently contribute the complete song, and it would be best if he didn't need to perform special services such as KJ. As for whether Li Yuan has that complete song, she had no doubt in her heart. She was very concerned about Li Yuan's situation. She knew that Li Yuan, this hateful playboy, was very talented in music and had created many classic songs. The few fragments that he sang to her that day could not have been created temporarily. Chi Siyu sneered at the inspiration Li Yuan mentioned. In that case, his mind must be full of those embarrassing things, how could he still think about creating? Little bastard, don't you know to take the initiative to find your sister? Chi Siyu had just organized her words and had not had time to send them out when suddenly a ring rang. I never saw such a beautiful sunset again. When it gets dark, the shadow will disappear at the intersection. This is the song she recorded in the school studio yesterday, and she used it as her own ringtone. Chi Siyu looked at the caller and was startled. She quickly answered the phone and her voice immediately became cautious. Hello, Principal Ma. The person who called her was Ma Tangfei, the vice president of Daxia University, who was also the vice president in charge of college students' entrepreneurship and her direct supervisor. Xiao Qi, Li Yuan is the student in the computer class you lead, right? Ma Tangfei said seriously. Chi Siyu's heart skipped a beat and she had a bad feeling in her heart. She thought to herself, could it be that the rumor that she used Li Yuan as a shield that day was taken seriously by Principal Ma and he came to question her? But she didn't break the law, she wasn't married, and Li Yuan wasn't married either. Besides, she had explained to several of her close friends that this was a shield to reject the harassment from the man surnamed Peng. As a busy vice president, Principal Ma should not come to blame for this trivial matter, right? All kinds of messy thoughts only appeared in her mind for a moment, and were driven away by Chi Siyu, who answered in a low and respectful voice. Yes, Principal Ma, do you have anything to do with Li Yuan? Ma Tangfei's voice came from the other end of the phone, haha, you know Zhihu developed by Li Yuan's company, right? Principal Ma, the Zhihu you mentioned, I heard someone mention it today, I wonder if you, Chi Siyu felt that the name Zhihu sounded familiar. But what does this have to do with Li Yuan? Ma Tangfei said with a little speechlessness, haha, Xiao Qi, you should also pay more attention to the entrepreneurial plans of our outstanding young people in the university. I heard that this Zhihu website was developed by this young man Li Yuan. Chi Siyu's head was confused, her sexy and charming eyes opened wide, and her cherry mouth with light red lipstick opened and closed, as if she wanted to say something. Her head was a little confused. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 326. Chi Siyu found it hard to believe that the nasty little pervert who took advantage of her was actually the developer of Zhihu. Ma Tangfei's voice continued to come from the phone. At present, our country is encouraging college students to start businesses and strengthen the country with scientific and technological innovation. Li Yuan's company, which developed the Zhihu website, is also a scientific and technological innovation enterprise with great development prospects. I have read Li Yuan's application materials. The direction he plans to develop is the internet, which is also in line with his major. You contact him and ask him to come to my office when he has time. Although Chi Siyu had many puzzles in her heart and her brain was a little down, she still quickly replied, "Okay, Principal Ma, I will notify him now." "Well, no hurry. Wait until next week. This little guy will be very busy these 2 days." Ma Tengfi's words were more smiling. "Okay, Principal Ma," Chi Siyu quickly replied, feeling happy for Li Yuan in her heart. It would be very beneficial for Li Yuan's future development to be received by the vice president in charge of college students' entrepreneurship. Just when Chi Siyu thought that Principal Ma would hang up the phone directly, suddenly, another voice came from the other end of the phone that made her head dazed. "Xiao Qi, you young people should pay attention to the influence when you fall in love." Chi Siyu's body trembled, and she almost threw her phone to the ground in fear, and she couldn't speak very fluently. "Ah, Principal Ma, what do you mean?" "He, Professor Peng Cheng is not bad. Even if you refuse, you should pay attention to the method, and pay attention to some words." Chi Siyu immediately understood that someone had passed the words she used to reject Peng Cheng to the ears of her direct supervisor, Principal Ma. She was so angry that she apologized and promised. "I'm sorry, Principal Ma, I know, I will pay attention next time." Well, that's it. After that, there was a dead tone from the other end of the phone. After confirming that her direct supervisor had hung up the phone, Chi Siyu's pretty face instantly fell down, and a blush was painted on her face. She didn't expect that the high-ranking vice president would ask about her feelings. "Alas, you little rascal, you have hurt my sister so badly. You must compensate me," Chi Siyu muttered. Thinking of what Principal Ma said about Zhu, she quickly turned on the computer and searched the internet. Instantly, many messages appeared. Breaking news: well-known online writer and music creator Li Yuan is the founder of Zhu. Literature, music, technology, the Trinity, what else can this 18-year-old boy not do? A strong youth means a strong country. The Zhu website developed by our city's freshman Li Yuan has become popular on the internet as soon as it was launched, with more than 2 million registrations on the same day. Motive: financial news. Business tycoons bluntly said that the cut-a-knife model may trigger a new sales trend. Chi Siyu looked at the messages one by one, completely stunned. Her eyes flashed with a wisp of confusion, bit her sexy lips, and whispered to herself, "This little man is really amazing. Handsome men and beautiful women, please give me a monthly ticket." Chapter 199 His, lighten up, I have a backer. Looking at the news about Li Yuan and Zhu on the internet, even attracting reports from Shanghai's financial news, Chi Siyu's heart trembled, and a strange emotion arose in her heart. She understood why Vice President Ma Tengfei personally asked about it. At present, the mainstream policy trend of the domestic upper class is to give full play to the scientific and technological innovation capabilities of college students in the new era, vigorously encourage and support college students to start their own businesses, and the policy support and assistance are also very strong. Slogans such as scientific and technological innovation, scientific and technological power, and scientific and technological leadership are shouted loudly, is also a kind of weather vane. As one of the 985 universities in Shanghai, Daxia University has always been at a disadvantage in domestic and world rankings because it is a normal university. Especially in terms of college students' scientific and technological innovation achievements and self-employment, there is still a certain gap compared with the other 985 universities in Shanghai. Therefore, when Li Yuan, a freshman who has long been famous, developed the Zhu website, which became popular on the first day of its launch, Ma Tengfei, who is in charge of college students' self-employment, will be particularly. It is not too much to pay attention to it and meet Li Yuan in person. Not to mention cultivating internet giants like B.A.T. If it can become a slightly famous website forum, it will also be of great benefit to the popularity of Daxia University. "Little man, it seems that my sister really took the initiative to find you," Chi Siyu muttered to herself, and her cheeks turned red as if she thought of something in her mind. She picked up the phone, sorted out her thoughts, and dialed Li Yuan's number with a slightly nervous mood. After a while, Li Yuan's slightly hurried voice came from the other end of the phone. "Hello, Mr. Qi, is there something you can talk to me about?" Hearing Li Yuan's serious answer, Qi Siyu was a little flustered, hiding the idea of joking in the depths of her heart, and asked seriously. "Li Yuan, congratulations, you have created Zhu.com, which is one step closer to success." On the other end of the phone, Li Yuan's voice was unusually concise and capable. "Thank you." Qi Siyu listened to Li Yuan's tone as if he was treating a stranger, and felt a little annoyed and angry. This playboy, as expected, did not recognize people after he put on his pants. Feeling sulky in his heart, Qi Siyu's voice became a little stiff and he directly explained his purpose. "Li Yuan, Principal Ma of our school wants to see you. Come to the administration building when you have time." Li Yuan's surprised voice came from the other end of the phone. "Principal Ma wants to see me? Who is he?" Qi Siyu rolled her eyes speechlessly and snorted, "Classmate Li Yuan, have you seen the school profile and the college student entrepreneurship application approval form you applied for that day?" "Well, I haven't had time to see it yet, what's wrong?" When Qi Siyu heard Li Yuan's nonchalant answer, she really wanted to go up and bite him off. Her teeth were itching with hatred and her mouth was dry. "Li Yuan, you are such a busy man. Please take some time to check out the school's official website." "Well, I'll take a look when I have time, hey. Be gentle." On the other end of the phone, Li Yuan's voice was a little strange, with the sound of rapid and heavy breathing, as if he was sitting through something indescribable. Qi Siyu's brain shut down on the spot, and then he realized that this playboy seemed to be doing bad things when he answered her call. She had just tried the sound of men's heavy and rapid breathing a few days ago, also with Li Yuan. This little bastard is really showing off. He's not serious at all. Qi Siyu spat in her heart, an inexplicable sourness welling up in her mind. She was still thinking stupidly about this philandering man in the office, but the other person might have simply forgotten about her. Thinking of this, Qi Siyu's body was filled with citric acid. He snorted and hung up the phone. "Hang up." After Qi Siyu hung up the phone, her cheeks were flushed, and a complicated look flashed in her sexy and bright eyes. He picked up the guitar from the desk, held it in his arms, and played the strings again. However, he could no longer find the feeling he had just now, and he felt a little flustered. Qi Siyu understood in her heart why she was upset, and sighed faintly. "You philandering little man, you have really stolen my sister's heart." Longjiu Building, Datang Technology Company. In the CEO's office, Li Yuan touched Xia's Haijin, whose cheeks turned red. She was wiping her mouth with a wet wipe and touched her head lovingly. This silly girl didn't seem to know how to refuse, and she obediently agreed to any of his excessive demands. Even in the office, doing something embarrassing and indescribable. "Ahem, Zhaijin, the instructor of our class, Teacher Qi, just called me. He said he was a vice principal and wanted to meet me. It should be about college students' entrepreneurship." After listening to Li Yuan's explanation, Xia's Haijin said shyly, and did not suspect that Li Yuan and Qi Siyu had any improper relationship. "Are you going now?" Xia's Haijin asked quietly. "Wait a moment," Li Yuan shook his head and explained, "I'll take a look at Principal Ma's information first. Know yourself and the enemy, and you will be victorious in every battle." On the spacious and luxurious desk, there is a high-configuration desktop computer. Li Yuan directly opened the official website of Daxia University, and after a while, he found out who this President Ma was. Principal Ma, named Ma Tengfei, is 50 years old this year. He wrote a long paragraph about his personal title and resume. Li Yuan took a serious look at it. Although he didn't understand the names of many titles, he was a doctoral supervisor, an academician of the National Academy of Sciences, and enjoyed special national allowances. He still understood the value of these titles. Ma Tengfei is the vice president in charge of Daxia University, college student entrepreneurship and many other tasks. He can be regarded as a real senior figure of Daxia University. If it were him in his previous life, he would not have the right to come into contact with this kind of character unless he saw it on TV. Li Yuan felt secretly happy, feeling a little leisurely and contented. This is also the first time that he has entered the vision of some big guys. One day, if I reach the level of 2 horses and 1 Lu, the school should be proud of me, right? Li Yuan muttered in his heart, and suddenly there were some huge expectations in his heart. The sense of accomplishment brought by entrepreneurship is completely different from the sense of accomplishment brought by behind-the-scenes investments such as the stock market. In life, it is either fame or fortune. Unless you are a saint, no one can get around it. He himself is a common man. In his previous life, he was a social beast who was severely beaten by society. Naturally, he cannot talk about the pursuit of fame and fortune. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 327. In this life, love is already there, pursue fame and fortune, and satisfy the dreams of the previous life. Not too much, right? Xia's Haijin, who was sitting in Li Yuan's arms with a shy expression, looked at the smile in the corner of Li Yuan's eyes. Although she didn't know why he was happy, she couldn't help but be happy too. My man is an upright man. Li Yuan read Ma Tengfei's profile for a while and roughly understood the other party's intention of meeting him. Turning his head, he looked at Xia's Haijin who was staring at him and smiled. Haijin, will you go back to school with me later or stay in the company? Ah, Xia's Haijin was startled, a little confused, and quickly replied, I listen to you. Li Yuan smiled and pinched her cheek, then you go back with me. The company is running step by step according to the established plan. Just come back in the evening and hear the results of today's battle. By the way, Haijin, our class has a basketball game in the afternoon. If I have time after meeting Principal Ma, I will attend. Hey, if you are bored, you can go to the stadium and cheer me on. After hearing this, Xia's Haijin's eyes lit up and her face was filled with a smile. She stared at Li Yuan with a flowery smile and nodded heavily. Well, okay. She loved every minute and every second she spent with Li Yuan. Even though he would not completely belong to her, as long as she had herself in her heart, it was enough, and she felt very contented. Li Yuan checked the time. It was already past 3:40 in the afternoon. The basketball game started at 5 o'clock. He had to go to see Principal Ma first, so he was a little pressed for time. He hugged Xia's Haijin down, opened his arms, stretched his waist, and said with a smile, Haijin, let's go back to school. Xia's Haijin's legs were numb even when she was squatting and sitting. She gently put Li Yuan's coat on him, like a gentle wife. After the two arrived at school, Li Yuan sent Xia's Haijin downstairs to the girls' dormitory and drove to the administration building. From the trunk, when returning from the company, I bought Westlake Longjing, 2 bottles of Maotai, and a Huazi, one on the left and one on the right, bought at Longjio shopping mall in black plastic bags, preparing to meet Principal Ma for a while. Before that, Li Yuan first came to the college student entrepreneurship office and met with the instructor Chi Siyu. Arriving at Chi Siyu's office, Li Yuan knocked on the door. Please come in, came an unfamiliar female voice from inside. Li Yuan raised his eyebrows and thought to himself, is Chi Siyu not in the office? As a functional office of the school, Chi Siyu is not alone in the entrepreneurship office. It's just that Li Yuan went to see Chi Siyu twice, but she happened to be the only one. Li Yuan opened the door and saw a short-haired woman wearing a black slim skirt looking at him in surprise. Who are you? Li Yuan didn't recognize the person in front of him and asked with a smile, "I'll find Teacher Chi." The short-haired woman looked at Li Yuan carefully and felt that he looked familiar. She seemed to have seen him somewhere, but she couldn't remember it for a while. "What do you want from her?" Li Yuan was a little disappointed when he didn't see the sexy and mature instructor. He smiled lightly and said, "It's okay. I would like to ask where the principal Ma Tengfei's office is." The short-haired girl looked at the two black plastic bags Li Yuan was carrying, and a feeling of contempt suddenly rose in her heart. She knew how to give gifts at such a young age. The voice also became a bit colder. "Principal Ma's office is on the 6th floor, at the far west end, with the door facing north." Li Yuan said thank you and turned around to leave. Not 2 minutes after Li Yuan gang left, Chi Siyu dropped the water on her hands and came to the office. The woman in a black dress and short hair said casually, "Siyu, someone just came to the office to see you." Chi Siyu asked casually, "Who is it?" A tall boy said he was looking for Principal Ma. He was carrying two black plastic bags and was dressed like a dog. He seemed to be someone who wanted to gain influence. As the short-haired woman was talking, she saw her best friend, whose expression suddenly froze, as if she had been cast a body-holding spell. "Siyu, Siyu, what's wrong with you?" Chi Siyu came back to her senses, with a look of annoyance flashing in her charming eyes. She glanced at the short-haired woman faintly and sighed softly. "Liang Jingjing, why didn't you ask him to wait for me?" Liang Jingjing heard something wrong in Chi Siyu's tone and asked doubtfully, "Siyu, do you know that boy just now?" Chi Siyu nodded, looked at his best friend, transformed into a lemon spirit and spoke. "Well, he is Li Yuan. Aren't you clamoring to get to know him every day?" Liang Qingqing's eyes widened and she exclaimed, "What, he is Li Yuan? Your rumored boyfriend?" Chi Siyu nodded. Liang Jingjing swore, "Damn it, why didn't you tell me earlier that he was coming to find you? Why does he look familiar to me? I didn't know he would come to me." Chi Siyu felt sour in her heart. She still wanted to dig out that nice song from Li Yuan's mouth again. Liang Jingjing looked at Chi Siyu's expression seriously, and said jokingly, "You little girl, don't you really like this little brother?" Chi Siyu blushed and murmured inaudibly, "He is not young." Li Yuan came to the 6th floor and found Ma Tengfei's office as if following the picture. Standing in front of the door, I suddenly felt more nervous, just like when I was working in my previous life. I went to report to the big boss. Li Yuan knocked on the door, and a heavy middle-aged male voice came from the room. "Come in." Li Yuan unscrewed the bolt, and as soon as he entered the door, he saw a middle-aged man sitting behind a luxurious and tidy huge desk, buried in his thoughts. Li Yuan sorted out his mood, smiled, and calmly came to the sofa in front of the desk, and put the moutai and tea he was carrying on the ground. "Principal Ma, you are looking for me." Ma Tengfei raised his head and glanced at Li Yuan, and instantly knew who the young college student in front of him was. He smiled and said, "Student Li Yuan, you came quite quickly, sit down quickly." Li Yuan sat down, put his hands on his knees, and pretended to listen. "Li Yuan, I asked you to come here mainly to discuss with you about college students' entrepreneurship. Did I waste your time?" Ma Tengfei's words were like a breeze, without any domineering posture. Li Yuan had roughly guessed what Ma Tengfei wanted to say, and replied with a faint smile, "No, Principal Ma." Ma Tengfei continued to ask with a smile, "Student Li Yuan, your company has been developing this Hiu website for a while, right?" Li Yuan replied, "Well, about a month." Ma Tengfei showed a curious look, "Oh, you just entered college and you think of developing a website. Can you tell me about your ideas?" Li Yuan did not answer immediately. He knew that this was Ma Tengfei's tentative test of himself. He thought about it in his mind, sorted out his thoughts, and then slowly spoke. "Principal Ma, After graduating from high school, I also browsed forum websites, mainly Kyandutaiba, Weibo, etc. But I feel that these websites are missing something. There is no channel for me to freely communicate and share my work, life, and emotions, including some knowledge, so I moved the idea of making a website myself, and then there was Zhihu. Listening to Li Yuan's story, Ma Tengfei nodded secretly, and the smile on his face became even wider. According to Li Yuan's idea of creating Zhihu, it is obvious that he also has his own opinions on the website and is full of interest. It is not accidental, so the sustainability is much stronger. Li Yuan, you are really thoughtful, not bad. The internet is the main trend of development. Although it has encountered some setbacks due to the economic crisis, it is also a process of eliminating the dross and retaining the green. In the future, more internet companies will be born and grow stronger. Ma Tengfei praised Li Yuan for a few words and talked about his own views. Seeing that Li Yuan was listening carefully, he was more satisfied. Student Li Yuan, our Daxia University is like a mother, and you are like children. The school strongly supports our children to start their own businesses. Did you encounter any problems in your entrepreneurial process that needed the school's help to solve? This is going to be a sweet date. Li Yuan was a little surprised, and his first impression of Ma Tengfei was improved a lot. President Ma, to be honest, from the establishment of the company to now, Zhihu has just been listed, and there have been no particularly big difficulties, that is. Li Yuan showed an embarrassed expression. Ma Tengfei was so smart that he could tell at a glance that Li Yuan was worried and laughed. Don't worry, just say it boldly. If you really encounter any problems in front of the school, I will definitely try my best to help you solve them if I can. Li Yuan pretended to be embarrassed and said, well, Principal Ma, I am worried that the company will encounter unfair competition from some peers as it develops. Ma Tengfei was slightly stunned. He thought Li Yuan would ask the school to support some human, material, and financial resources. Unexpectedly, Li Yuan would express this concern. Ma Tengfei couldn't help but look at Li Yuan deeply, and he could understand the concerns he raised. A college student from another place, who became famous at a young age and earned $1,000,000 a month, also created a technology company. The website he developed was very popular as soon as it went public. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 328. According to the normal development model, it is very likely that we will get our own share of the internet market. But precisely, Li Yuan himself and his company can be said to have no foundation, if only tepid. Now that it is really popular, if you get a share of the pie from other companies, you are likely to face some commercial competition, or even unscrupulous non-commercial attacks. Ma Tengfei knew in his heart what Li Yuan wanted now. At that moment, without hesitation, he smiled and spoke directly. Li Yuan, do your job well, make this website bigger and stronger, and show the elegance of our Daxia students. As for non-commercial means of competition, schools are here, so feel free to do it. When Li Yuan heard Ma Tengfei's assurance, the smile on his face grew wider. This is a good leader. I spent thousands of dollars on Maotai, Huazi, and tea in vain. With Ma Tengfei's words, if you encounter some non-commercial competition methods in the future, you will have reason to ask the school for help. With the status of Daxia University and Ma Tengfei's network resources, Li Yuan would not be able to touch it in a short period of time. Li Yuan quickly stood up, pretending to be excited, and solemnly thanked him. Thank you, Principal Ma, thank you so much. Ma Tengfei smiled, waved his hand, and motioned for Li Yuan to sit down. Xiao Li, I personally like the development of your website. You are also a computer major. You are professionally matched. When the company develops, you can also provide some jobs for the school. What Ma Tengfei said was very high level and tactful. What he said when the company develops will not only encourage Li Yuan, but also serve as a step forward. After all, Daxia University is a 985 university. Although the computer major is not a top major, it is not bad. Ordinary graduates will look down on ordinary small companies. Even Hu Zhenqiang and several other seniors majoring in computer science at Daxia University chose Li Yuan's new company because of the economic downturn and the high salary offered by Li Yuan, including the possibility of realizing their ideals in life. Principal Ma, don't worry, I have already planned to use the entrepreneurial base approved by you as the operation base of the Zhihu website, and at the same time recruit some poor college students from our school to work part-time in the company. Seeing Li Yuan being so successful, the smile on Ma Tengfei's face became thicker and he was even more satisfied with Li Yuan. If you don't support this kind of sensible learning, who else can you support? I remember that the entrepreneurial base assigned to you was the 3 rooms on the first floor of the teaching and research building, right? Yes, Principal Ma, you have a really good memory. Li Yuan smiled and flattered him, feeling a little more hopeful. Sure enough, Ma Tengfei smiled and said, your company is a startup, and you may be short of office space. I will make the decision and grant you the 3 classrooms next door as a business base. All other entrepreneurial support policies that you should enjoy will be in accordance with the latest regulations. Excellent level offers. How's it going? Are you satisfied? Li Yuan nodded repeatedly, satisfied, so satisfied. Thank you Principal Ma for your strong support. Ma Teng looked at Li Yuan with a smile, haha, Xiao Li, then do it well, do it boldly, use your young and unconstrained ideas to write your own world. Li Yuan answered with a smile and his voice was extremely confident, well, Principal Ma, I will work hard. Haha, Xiao Li, go ahead and do your work first. The website has just been launched, and there should be a lot of things that you need to deal with. Ma Tengfei politely issued an expulsion order. Li Yuan naturally understood and replied with a smile, Principal Ma, you are busy. Just as Li Yuan was about to get up and leave, he heard Ma Tengfei's voice. Take your things back, you don't need them between school and school. Li Yuan replied with a smile, I heard that you like to drink tea, so I brought some tea leaves as a token of appreciation from the student. Ma Tengfei smiled, looked deeply at Li Yuan, nodded with a smile, that's okay, there won't be a next time. Li Yuan smiled and nodded, okay, Principal Ma, you are busy then. After leaving Ma Tengfei's office, Li Yuan suddenly felt much more comfortable. With the approval of a vice principal of the school, we can temporarily let go of some non-commercial competition methods. The business layout in Li Yuan's mind is very huge. Now it's just a website, then there will be games, then there will be milk tea catering, and in the future there may be takeaways, short videos, etc. Backed by the big tree of Daxia University, at least in the city of Magic City, you don't have to worry about some non-commercial competition methods and wipe yourself out. If he really encounters force majeure, he can only resort to his ultimate move in reinforcements. When Li Yuan went down the stairs, he glanced at Qi Siyu's office, licked his lips, and felt secretly regretful. This sexy and mature lady is not in the office today. Just returned to the dormitory. Li Yuan met Lucia, Renjun, Wu Hao, and others who were walking towards him. Lucia hurried over from a long distance away and greeted excitedly. Brother Yuan, it's really you, are you still willing to come back? Li Yuan raised his eyebrows and joked, why, someone doesn't welcome me back. Lucia looked stunned, smiled, and patted Li Yuan on the shoulder, how is it possible? Whoever dares not to welcome me, Brother Yuan, I will be the first to rush forward and cut him. Li smiled meaningfully, I hope you mean what you say. Lucia was puzzled. Just as he was about to ask another question, Renjun, Wu Hao, and others also came to Li Yuan and spoke one after another. Brother Yuan, can you participate in the competition later? Brother Yuan, We are all waiting for you. As long as you participate in the competition, it will be easy to kill the guys in the second computer class. Brother Yun, are you running away again? Li Yun listened to the words of several people and nodded with a smile. Well, I just finished my work, I will participate. After hearing Li Yun's admission, the expressions of several people, including Lucia and Renjun, became very excited, and they all danced and laughed. Wow, that's great. Nice, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you must perform well. Hey, no one can stop me from performing today. You must beat the guys in class 2 to 2 digits, and then get divorced. Li Yun looked a little confused. He asked in confusion, brothers, I'm just participating in a basketball game. Are you so excited? Lucia chuckled and replied, Brother Yun, I'm afraid you didn't understand something. Oh, what's the matter? Li Yun asked strangely. Lucia stretched out a finger, pointed at Li Yun, and said mysteriously, Brother Yun, do you know who you are? Li Yun rolled his eyes and hit Lucia hard on the head. Sixth, haven't we seen you for a few days, has your IQ increased to 250? Lucia chuckled, not taking it seriously, and looked at Wu Hao and the others. Brothers, tell Brother Yun who he is. I'll go first. Wu Hao quickly raised his hand, holding one hand like a microphone, pointing at Li Yun in a funny way, performing. Dear ladies, the person standing next to me now is Li Yun, the great writer, musical genius, and founder of Zhihu. Let us welcome him with warm applause. Where is the scream? Lucia winked and smiled at Li Yun. Brother Yun, do you know who you are? Chapter 200. Li Yun was shocked, could it be the Shura field today? Li Yun was amused by Lucia and Wu Hao's exaggerated singing and singing performances. He stared at these two live treasures speechlessly. Your acting skills are really too exaggerated. Wu Hao bared his teeth and smiled, Brother Yun, how about we make a bet? Li Yun raised his eyebrows slightly and glanced at Wu Hao. Oh, what a gambling method, tell me. Wu Hao chuckled and said with a strange look on his face, Brother Yun, I can guarantee that as long as you play on the court this afternoon, you will definitely attract more than 3 digits of girls to watch. Do you believe it? 3 digits, 100 people? I don't believe it. Li Yun shook his head on the surface, but he was really shaking his head inwardly. My reputation seems to be a little bigger, although it's not a good reputation. However, this was just an amateur class competition, and there was no publicity and promotion. At most, it attracted 2 girls from the computer class to watch. Hey, Brother Yun, let's make a bet. If there are more than 100 girls watching, even if I win, I will treat a few of our brothers to a big dinner tonight. Wu Hao licked his lips, stuck out his tongue, and turned it around in the corner of his mouth, with a salivating expression. Lucia also interjected, Hey, Brother Yun, add me, I can already imagine the style of the basketball court later. We are surrounded by girls, all screaming and cheering for us. Maybe we will be lucky enough to meet someone who is right with us, and then we will be single successfully. Brother Yun, you must participate. The happiness of the rest of our lives depends on you. Li Yun glared at these 2 bastards and cursed with a smile, it must be the lower body's sexual pleasure. You guys are too horny. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 329. If you want to find a girlfriend, be brave and take the initiative, and you've even set your sights on me. Lucia pretended to be aggrieved, Brother Yun, you are a full man but you don't know a hungry man is hungry. We also want to have a few beautiful ladies to warm our beds. Besides, it's hard to chase pretty girls nowadays. There are too many competitors, and the ugly ones are too ugly to look down on. I'm not afraid of you being overheated to death, Li Yuan cursed with a smile and motioned to Lucia and the others. You guys go to the playground first, I'll go back to the dormitory and change into my jersey. Wu Hao quickly said, Brother Yuan, let's wait for you here. It's up to you, Li Yuan said, turned around and went upstairs. After Li Yuan left, Lucia, Wu Hao, Renjun, and Su Ziqiang looked at each other and laughed. Brothers, please perform well on the field soon. This is a rare opportunity. You must not be embarrassed. No problem. Since Brother Yuan has agreed, I'll send a message to a few girls. Isn't it too much? Then why are you hesitating? Just post a post in the class group and the school forum. I'm sure there will be many beautiful girls around soon. Yesterday, a senior from the literature department next door asked me if Brother Yuan would appear today. Said they would bring their roommates to watch the game. Hee, Brother Yuan will definitely lose this bet. Not to mention 100 girls, even 1000 girls are very likely. We must kill him well tonight. Let's go to eat seafood tonight. I kind of want to eat abalone. Lucia and Renjun took out their mobile phones one after another and started spreading gossip. If there is no publicity, no one will know, and indeed there may not be 100 girls coming to watch the game. But with a little publicity, it is not easy to attract 100 young ladies. This time, a sure win. Computer Class 1, Girls' Dormitory. When Lucia, Wu Hao, Renjun, and other top players leaked the news that Li Yuan was participating in this afternoon's basketball game, it quickly spread among the girls. Wang Zhirong dressed up carefully, wearing a JK skirt, a tight-fitting midriff-revealing vest on her upper body, and a pair of D++ xuanai on her chest, who was excitedly messing around, with a high ponytail and exquisite makeup. She looked exactly like a young and beautiful cheerleader. Wang Zhirong looked at Fang Yani excitedly and urged, Yani, Li Yuan will be on stage to perform in a while. Please quickly change into beautiful clothes and come with me. Seeing Wang Zhirong's excitement, Fang Yani was speechless and muttered. It's not your boyfriend participating in the competition. Are you so excited? Besides, haven't you given up on chasing Li Yuan? Why don't you give up? Wang Zhirong stood up to the proud Xiong Daxian and spoke confidently. No, he has become my obsession. As long as I work hard enough, I will definitely be able to move him. Hee, I already have a new way in my mind. Fang Yani frowned speechlessly. She felt that her big bear roommate had gone a little crazy. There were so many men in the world, why did he have to hang himself from a tree? Wrong, there are no classes this afternoon. I'm going to go to a tutoring company for an interview and be a part-time tutor. Wang Zhirong took Fang Yani's arm and said with a smile. Yani, you are looking far away from the near. Hasn't Li Yuan already opened a company? As long as you accompany me, I will convince Li Yuan to arrange a part-time job for you. He is so generous and he is a classmate, so he will not treat us badly. Fang Yani's eyes lit up and her heart moved. Li Yuan is indeed very generous, giving away luxury cars worth millions upon request, and Xia's Haijin's dormitory is never short of various snacks and fruits. Nowadays, if you want to work part-time as a tutor, it is very difficult to find a suitable one. Even if it is difficult to find, even if you find a job, it is easy to be owed wages. As for simple part-time jobs such as going out on the street to hand out flyers, I only get 20 or 30 yuan a day, and it is very tiring. Wrong, do you really have a way to convince Li Yuan, and will his company be short of people? Fang Yani asked doubtfully. Wang Zhirong showed a mysterious smile, quietly put his head close to Fang Yani's ear, and spoke in a low voice. Yani, let me tell you a piece of gossip. Don't tell anyone else. Li Yuan has applied for the college student entrepreneurship base, which is located in the teaching and research building. He is planning to recruit some college students from our school to work part-time at his place. Fan Yanni's expression suddenly trembled, revealing a look of disbelief. Wrong, is the news reliable? Is Li Yuan really going to open a company in school? Wang Zhirong patted Gao Song's chest and answered confidently. It's 100% reliable. Whenever I lie to you, you will know in a few days. As long as I ask, Li Yuan will definitely not refuse. Yanni, please, come with me, I want to be my boyfriend's #1 cheerleader. Fan Yanni glanced at Wang Zhirong strangely, and she was very suspicious. Where did the other party get his confidence? Sighing speechlessly, I've convinced you, that's fine, I'll go with you. Hee, Yanni, Mua, you are so good. Wang Zhirong turned around, revealing her sexy figure, and asked excitedly. Yanni, what I'm wearing today is sexy enough, right? Will it blind Li Yuan? Fan Yanni glanced at her sexy roommate who loved beauty and was good at dressing up. After applying exquisite makeup and dressing up carefully, her appearance had improved to another level. Yes, you must be the most beautiful girl on the playground today. The girls' dormitory next door. Gao Xian looked at the message in the class group and excitedly looked at Xia's Haijin, who was reading a book seriously. Haijin, Li Yuan will also appear in the basketball game later. Aren't you going to cheer for him? Xia's Haijin looked at the time. It was already 4:40 in the afternoon. There were still 20 minutes before the game at 5 o'clock. She quickly put down a book on financial management and got up in a hurry. She was a little fascinated by reading and almost forgot the time. Today in the company, Li Yuan specifically told her to go to the playground to cheer for him. Xia's Haijin imagined the scene of the stadium in her mind. She looked at Gao Xian and several other roommates with a slightly shy expression and asked in a low voice. Xingxin, Chen, are you going with me? Chen naturally wanted to go, but she was embarrassed to go alone. When she heard that Xia's Haijin was going, she immediately had an excuse and answered with a smile. Go ahead. Basketball games are also a way to win honor for the class. As a member of the class, we must go and cheer for them. Gao Xian looked expectant. Chen is right. Let's go. With the explosion of Zhihu, Li Yuan's reputation has become more and more famous, especially among the students of Daxia University. He is almost known to everyone. The supreme god of online literature, genius musician, founder of Zhihu and other exaggerated titles have been given to Li Yuan by some book friends and song fans. In addition to positive reputations, some negative titles have also been given to Li Yuan. Names such as the Grand Master of Scumbags, Ximan Qing of Daxia, and Big Stallion have also been spread on the internet by some people who hate Li Yuan. When Lucia, Wu Hao and others leaked the news that Li Yuan would participate in the afternoon basketball game, many more posts appeared on Daxia Taiba and Zhihu. Zhihu founder Li Yuan appeared on the basketball court. Sisters, hurry up. Where are the good sisters of Xiahua fan support group? Come to the basketball court to cheer for the male god. All of a sudden, many curious people, as well as Li Yuan's fans of songs and books, all rushed to the basketball court. The class of the freshman School of Finance and Accounting just ended today. Bai Wuxi was holding a textbook, looking absent-minded, on the way back to the dormitory with Wang Lisha and Deng Miki. At lunch, after learning that Li Yuan was developed by the new website Zhihu that was very popular around, her mood instantly fell to the bottom. She was silent all afternoon and was in a very bad mood. Deng Miki looked at Bai Wuxi with a frown on her face, laughed, and whispered to comfort her. Wuxi, don't be sad, Li Yuan may not be hiding something from you on purpose, maybe he is preparing to give you a surprise. Wang Lisha was also very upset and felt that it was not worth it for Bai Wuxi. Li Yuan started a company and developed a website. Such a big thing, but he didn't tell Bai Wuxi in advance. She didn't know until the news spread in the school. It's conceivable how much of a psychological blow this made Baiwixi suffer. Her boyfriend kept everything from her. No girl could stand it. Wixi, Mikey is right. Li Yuan probably doesn't want you to worry. Wanglishia said this, but she didn't believe it at all. It was just to comfort Baiwixi. Yeah, Baiwixi nodded with a forced smile, her heart was bleeding. She thought of the story that Li Yuan told her at the Yuanyangpo in the school that day. She heard him like that in her previous life, so he kept everything from her. He wrote a novel right after the college entrance examination, but she was the last one to know. He applied for the same university as her, and she was the last one to know. Now, his website is online, and she is the last one to know. Li Yuan, you told me that day that I am your white moonlight, but sometimes, I really can't feel whether you still love me. Baiwixi's eyes were confused, and her mind suddenly emerged again, and the words that the boy she met that day said to her. You choose to be with me, is it really just to get revenge on me? Not because you love me. Brother, I am really scared, afraid that I will suddenly lose you, afraid that you really don't love me anymore. Baiwixi's heart is extremely melancholy. She thinks about Li Yuan every day and wants to stay with him more, but the more she understands, the less happy feeling of being spoiled, and she spends every day in the thoughts of gains and losses. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 330. I didn't do anything wrong. Why did it turn out like this? It should have been the perfect love that everyone was looking forward to, but it tasted so bitter. Suddenly, a voice reached the ears of the three girls. Sisters, I just got the news that Xiahua will participate in the basketball game today. Let's go and grab a good seat quickly, otherwise we won't be able to get it. Really? Isn't Xiahua working on his Zhihu? How can he still have time to participate in the basketball game? I don't know either, who cares? I must not miss the first basketball game of the male god today. Hearing the words Zhihu and Xiahua, Baiwixi immediately understood who they were talking about. Looking at the laughter running past her, Baiwixi tied her hair and looked at them blankly. Wanglishia and Denmiki also heard the conversation. They looked at each other. Wanglishia coughed, reached out and held Baiwixi's hand, pretending to say casually. Wixi, it's still early, let's just walk around the campus and take a walk. After saying this, Wanglishia winked at Denmiki. Denmiki made an okay gesture and understood what he said. Yes, the weather is good today. Let's go to the playground to get some fresh air. Wixi, come with us. Baiwixi glanced at her two best friends, her body trembled slightly, and she suddenly became more nervous. A pair of beautiful eyes looked at the playground in the distance, where a dark crowd of people had gathered vaguely. Perhaps, they were all looking at him. Baiwixi sighed with melancholy, and her longing for Li Yuan still overcame the sadness in her heart. Yet, in the A-1314 girls' dormitory, Zhong Tingyu was talking on the phone with Gu Langzhen. Gu Langzhen's voice sounded a little tired on the phone. Baby, I'm already in Sicheng, don't worry. Zhong Tingyu was shocked and frowned and asked, Mom, why did you leave so suddenly? You didn't tell me in advance that you would not be in Shanghai for a few days. Gu Langzhen's tone was a little embarrassed. Your dad had something to ask me, and he was in a hurry, so I didn't wait for you to come back. Baby, you should study hard in Shanghai, and be happy with Li Yuan. If you really encounter any problems, you must tell your mother, don't hide it. Zhong Tingyu nodded, well, I know, you don't have to worry. Gu Langzhen was still a little worried about her daughter's temper and personality, and reminded her tactfully, didn't Li Yuan say that he would open a milk tea shop for you? If you have nothing to do, put more thought on the milk tea shop, so that you won't have any wild thoughts. Mom is still waiting for the day when your milk tea shop can be opened in Sicheng. When Zhong Tingyu heard her mother mention the milk tea shop, she couldn't help but think of this hit website that has been widely circulated on the internet. Before, she didn't know that Li Yuan also opened a company. Before, she occasionally heard Li Yuan say that the company had something to do, and she thought it was a company for writing novels. Now, it seems that it should be this company. Everything about him is like a huge iceberg, and only the tip of the iceberg is revealed, waiting for her to dig. Senior, the milk tea shop you told me about, don't they know about it? Zhong Tingyu's mind was full of thoughts, and she guessed Li Yuan's thoughts. Baby, your father is here to pick me up. I won't talk to you anymore. I will go to Shanghai to see you when I have time. You and Li Yuan must get along well. That's it, hang up. Before Zhong Tingyu could speak, a busy tone came from the phone. She frowned slightly, feeling a little worried and angry for her mother. Her biological father always had a high-handed feeling. The way he looked at her was like looking at a fine commodity, not at all like the way he looked at his biological daughter. If she hadn't confirmed it again and again, she would have doubted that she was not the biological daughter of that beast. How could a father not consider the happiness of his daughter and treat her as a tool to be used? But she was powerless before. Before, if she left that man, she and her mother would be helpless, and even going to college with peace of mind would probably be impossible. As for now, Zhong Tingyu's eyes gradually became firm. Glancing out the window and looking at the playground not far away, she picked up her phone, hesitated for a moment, and decided to go and see. When she was browsing the confession wall on the Zhi website just now, she saw a post about a star-chasing girl who met Li Yuan wearing a jersey on the road to play basketball. She left a message in the confession wall asking how to chat up with the male god. Senior, will I give you a surprise or a shock? Zhong Tingyu murmured to herself, and suddenly there was a few more smiles at the corners of her mouth. Since he was planning to reconcile with me, I should go to see him openly, even if I could only peek at him from a distance. This was his first basketball game in college. On the basketball court, Li Yuan was wearing the number 23 jersey and was constantly practicing, holding the ball with both hands to break through the tight defense. Although he was often forced to play center on the basketball court due to his height, he actually liked to play the ball-controlling forward position, which allowed him to attack, shoot, pass, and defend. Beside him, Lucia watched Li Yuan dribbling the ball skillfully between his legs and behind his back, which was very rhythmic and beautiful, and couldn't help muttering. Brother Yuan, your dribbling skills are getting more and more proficient. You are not practicing basketball secretly behind our backs, are you? Li Yuan glanced at Lucia, this tall and thin man who looked silly on the surface but was actually very smart. His basketball skills were not very good. Because of his height, he could only do some basic rebounding and secondary offensive work. Li Yuan smiled faintly, haha, Lao Lu, if you practice two-handed ball control every night, you can also improve your ball skills. Lucia's eyes widened, as if it was just like this, and he laughed, Brother Yuan, you really practice secretly. When I first played with you, your ball control skills were definitely not so good. Hee, Brother Yuan, teach me, how do you practice ball control? Li Yuan almost burst out laughing. Although this guy is talkative, he has never been in a relationship and has no practical experience. He didn't understand some new knowledge at the first time. Li Yuan replied meaningfully, first, you have to find a girlfriend first. Lucia replied with a confused look, what does this have to do with finding a girlfriend? Li Yuan laughed dumbly and was about to continue teasing, when suddenly, a familiar female voice screamed in his ear. Li Yuan, I love you. Li Yuan, I love you. Li Yuan, I love you. These words were so loud that everyone on the court couldn't help but look over. Li Yuan also looked over. His jaw dropped when he saw this. At some point, next to this open-air court, a girl wearing a JK short skirt, showing her slim waist, and a high ponytail, who was so dizzy that it was hard to open her eyes. She was waving her hands, and I don't know where she got the colored balls from, jumping excitedly next to the court, and boldly shouting "Come on" to Li Yuan, just like the scene in the animation Slam Dunk. If you don't know, you might think it's a professional cheerleading team from CBA. Before Li Yuan said anything, Lucia's eyes were wide open. His dark face became a little shy after seeing this sexy girl, but his eyes seemed to be fixed on her and he never looked away. When he just started school, he had a crush on Wang Zhirong and made a joke. Although he never succeeded in getting her, he still communicated with Wang Zhirong from time to time. In other words, he was being kept as a fish by Big Bear Girl. But this fish was a little too smart and was not willing to pay money, but only wanted to pay with her body. Commonly known as white scoop. Lucia listened to Wang Zhirong saying "Li Yuan, I love you," over and over again, and couldn't help but patted Li Yuan on the shoulder and asked sourly, "Brother Yuan, what's going on between you and Rong Rong? Could she really have succeeded?" "What are you talking about?" Li Yuan glared at Lucia and turned his head away speechlessly. Just now when she was looking at Wang Zhirong, she had flirted with him and screamed even more vigorously, which made her scalp numb and a little ashamed. Now, because the game is about to start, there is already a circle of people around the court. Although it has not yet reached the three-digit girls mentioned by Wu Hao and Lucia, there are already 30 or 40, and most of them are girls who don't know where they came from. Lucia stared at Li Yuan with envy. Seeing his sweetheart publicly show his love for his roommate, although he has experienced it several times, he still feels a little jealous. "Brother Yuan, Rong Rong is really working hard for you. I envy you so much." Li Yuan laughed dumbly and didn't refute for a while. Not to mention, Wang Zhirong suddenly appeared on the court today, wearing a JK short skirt, like a sexy cheerleader, applauding and cheering for him, which made him a little moved, and his sense of her has improved a little.